Good afternoon, everybody. Hope you're all indoors or you're out there with an umbrella. Goodness me, today it's actually started to throw it down outside. I've even had to put the light on. It's gone so dark. So hello to everybody else out there. Hope you're staying dry. And of course, I'm at home today doing a bit of design work. And Leslie, Tommy and John at the office packing parcels and getting things made and ready to go out. So yeah, it's all go today. It's all busy. But yeah, let's see what we're going to do today, shall we? Okay, tile number 291. And you know, I've had a look through some of the recent ones, and I think I've had a bit of a red period, because at least maybe the last 6 tiles, they've all had a hint of red in there somewhere. So I thought today I'd go a little bit different. I've got a bit of blue today, but I'm starting with a regular white bright tile. Thought I'd go with that one. And I do have my regular Sanntangle pen, my fine liner. I've also got my brush pen. There you go. So we need something that's going to allow us to do a bit of covering with a solid black. My pencil, I've got a few tortillons because I've got some couple of blue. I got blue pastel pencils. So we're going to see where that leads. It's going to have a hint of colour. I might even actually bring in a little bit of green as well. A bit of a hint. So where do we start? Goodness me. Okay, going to start with a border. So going to go straight in with pen. No, I'm not going straight in with pencil with this one. Just had a look at the sample there. I thought, no, maybe not. So here we go. Oh, that's one I did the other day. So, all right, let's put one in. And remember, we are going to draw this back in pen later. But we might sort of decide that we're going to go over a little bit. So we'll see where it sort of leads us. Sometimes it's nice to stay in, and sometimes it's nice to have a bit of a rebellion, isn't it? And go outside the border. Okay. All right. There we are. First job done. So I'm going to stick with pencil for a minute. And if you feel that you need to, you can come in with a round circle-y stencil, or you can do this freehand. Freehand I quite like the idea of for this, because I don't want them to all be perfect. So I'm going to start with a bubble, and I'm going to just sort of sketch it in pencil, because it's sort of, this is probably going to be the largest bubble. There you go. So you're not too close to the edge, but down that bottom corner there. Okay. And then I'm going to bring another one in here. Again, a little bit smaller, this one. Doesn't look it at the minute, but yeah, a little bit smaller. Okay, there we go. And put one down here. Now yours might be a little bit different. I don't think it's got to be exactly in the same format, but I do want a bit of coverage. Let's have one there. Again, see, none of them are any bigger than this one. This is the first one I did. The others are a little bit smaller. Oh, hello, everybody. Do you know, it really... it's not perfect. It's not. I just think I sketch them a lot. Isn't it wonderful that we can actually all get together? And doesn't matter what country we're in. I've spotted a few of you from over in America. Hello, welcome. I hope your weather's nicer than ours. But yeah, it's lovely, isn't it, that we can all get together. We're so far away, but we're so close. I love that. I'm going to do a smaller one up there. There you go. All right. Okay. So I think first things first, I'm going to bring in my pen now. And I want to sort of pen in these shapes. So even if you've got to take your time, you know, turn it as you go in, follow those lines, and of course you can sort of change it as you go in if you need to. There we are. Hello everybody just joining. So so far we've drawn a border with pencil, and we've put some bubbles in. There we go. So if you want to sort of do that, or you want to do a quick sketch so you can see where we're headed here, it's entirely up to you, or you can watch it back later. All right. So you see that I'm turning my tile, so my hand's always in that most comfortable position and helping me create these little shapes. Okay. And just follow it round. Okay. So if you feel that you need to, you can change the shape as you're going. You can slightly amend it, but don't worry too much. It doesn't have to be perfect at all. It's fine. And let's do this one. I'm going to do all of them, so it doesn't matter which you start with. There you go. Just drawing it sort of round. Oh, Janet, now you're just showing off if it's sunny over there. Certainly not sunny here. It did go very black for a while, so I have put the light on just so we can have a bit of brightness. Okay, one more to do. So then we go with this one here. So probably, because it's kind of small, I can go round. There you go. All right, Janet, we'll let you off then if it was raining this morning, because it hasn't been raining here all day, so we'll forgive you. Oh, okay. Susan, yeah, always a busy day for me, always. Lots to do, of course, and lots to be getting on with. Just going to sort of rub out those little bits there. There we go. Okay, just don't need them. You can leave them in if you want, doesn't matter. Okay, so let's go in with this largest one to start with. I'm going to do the same on all of them, so you can start wherever you like. I'm going to go from the middle-ish. Doesn't matter actually. If it's probably nicer sometimes if it's not from the middle. So I'll do this one middle-ish, and then the next one I won't. And we'll see what the difference is. Bit of a curl. And then sort of from coming back a little bit, I'm going to put another little line in, like so. So then into this one. You see, I'm going to work my way back each time and then create these little curves. Don't be too tempted to go larger because it's a large space. Just be content to fill it in with these little lines. And we're going to work all the way around until we've got no more space left. And that sort of circular bubbly kind of shape. Okay. See how it sort of all works its way around. And just sort of keep it going. And don't be tempted to get bigger. Just sort of keep within that size. And then we'll see where that takes us. So of course we've drawn the outside in pen, so we don't really want this sort of scalloped edge. When we get to the end, it's sort of going to get swallowed up in the bubble, so that's what we want. And that's okay. There we are. You see, so now I'm coming to the edge. I'm just sort of working it in. You see that one's got a little bit more space, so I'll come back and I'll fill that in a minute. Just going to keep going till I can't really go anymore. About sort of next one. There you go. All right, and then sort of here, just sort of add in a couple there. Okay. Now before I go on to the other one, I'm going to come in with a couple of different lines. You see, because I've got this one touching there, so I'm going to start here where I'm touching, and I'm going to come out and create a loop, and then again out, create a loop. Now on this occasion I can decide to go out or I can stay inside the border. So I'm gonna stay in the border. All right, and then back again. So they're sort of getting a little bit bigger. That's fine actually. A bit big is probably better. See, when I get to here, it's gonna have to go behind there. Okay. That's the kind of shape there. So let's just move it out a little bit. Okay. And I'm gonna do this one. So remember me saying I wasn't gonna start in the middle with this. I'll start sort of one side. So same sort of thing again. And little sort of curves. And again, don't be tempted to go too big. We want to sort of keep them going if we can. And just make sure that they're touching. We want them to overlap wherever we can. And of course we're going to run out of space on one edge before we get to the other. But that's fine. Because we can just sort of keep it going. Following it round. And see, now we get to here. I can't go any further there. So I'm going to fill in. This is just going to look like it's gone sort of underneath and it's carrying on round. So again, finish there. So let's sort of pick it up on this edge there. See? And keep it going. Until we've got no more space left. And again, now I've sort of started going this way. If you find it more comfortable going that way, it doesn't matter. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to keep them all going the same way. So I'm going to go over there. I think once you've decided, it's nice to sort of have a bit of consistency. But again, if you don't want it, you can change it about a bit. See, they're going to go underneath there. And along. Okay. So this one's not going to have sort of many of these. Let's put this one in and see where this one goes. Let's put the centre bits in first. And again, not too big. This is just sort of the centre of our pieces. Work it round. There you go. Just making sure, so look, each touch I'm sort of leaving a gap before I start, so I want to make sure they all touch each other. And again, just sort of keep it flowing all the way around. See, again, this time I'm going to have a bit more on the left. Again, it just sort of gives it a little bit of movement. That's what we want. So again, just go as far as you can with what space we've got there. And then pick it up as and when you can round those corners. You see, sort of coming back in about there. And following it round again. Oh, it's stopped raining now at least. It's just very wet out there. There we go. So how are we going to deal with this then? Because now this is sort of over and under. Now it really doesn't matter because it's not exactly going to, you know, it's not got to be the perfect sort of flower kind of shape. So I can put one in there. I can keep working it round. It's not everyone has to meet. It's not about creating the exact same shapes every time. So see, you've just got a bit going underneath there and maybe you're going to see a bit there, so it's going to come back round. Well, that's fine. It's nice that they're all sort of compact and in together. So we're going to have something similar with these two, and that's absolutely fine. So same thing again. Around we go. And then start with our little curves coming out from the centre. I think sometimes we do tend to want it to look exactly like a flower, and we forget that it's all about just enjoying that process and not worrying whether things are going to overlap or underlap or are they going to look right. It's who knows? Who's to say this flower, does it exist? Well, it does now, but it doesn't have to be that kind of perfect shape that we all imagine. If it says it's a flower at all, it might not be. See, I'm going to go underneath the border this time. And then I'll get another one in there, look. See? So pick on another. Just going in. Again, you notice now I'm not going into the centre. I'm sort of moving them about. Each one's a little bit different. This keeps it a bit more interesting. If they were all facing the front, it'd look a bit different anyway. So again with this, really screwing up with those of you that don't like random. Sorry, but sometimes it's good to just try something a bit different. No measuring, no working out, just sort of put it in and go with it. Sort of thing here. And keep it going again. You don't want them getting too big, so don't get carried away with them. And then fill any gaps in that you've got left. Okay. So again, see, I'm going to start here, being that that's where I've got a shape coming in. And again. No, I'm not going to have to worry about the going in or out the border there, because it's in nice and neatly there. So last one, and again, in that little curl. And then creating these little shapes as we go along. And just following it through. It's quite small, this one, so it's not going to take long at all to fill that in. There we go. And then again, I'm just going to follow from here, and I'm going to go out the border. I know, bit of a rebel. I've gone out the border twice now. See, that's just going to come back on itself. So this is sort of where we are at the minute. Okay, let's have a look at that. So I'm going to just rub out the bits of border that are in those little shapes there. Okay. Fine. And then I can come in, I can actually draw that border in. So whether you want to do it freehand or whether you want to do it with a straight edge, it's fine. Okay, this is a little bit there as well. So of course you're not going to draw inside your shapes, you're just going to take that behind. Same with this one. You know, I know we started with a straight edge, but I do quite like sometimes just going in freehand. Might neaten it up afterwards, depends on where the rest of it goes. Okay. Alright, so there we go. Doesn't matter which way around it is, it's neither which way. So let's have a look if we've got some little corners here that we can work with. Of course I've got one here. So let's come on in and add a couple of curves in there. And then I'm going to bring in sort of a little loop, similar type of thing really, and fill in either side. A little shape like that. Let's add in another little loop on the inside of it. Just a little aura in there. It's nice. Put some lines in as well. A little dot. If you've got space. So I'm going to find another. I've got a nice little gap here, so again I can put that little curve in and then start in the middle. Might aura that as I'm going actually. Get a bit there and a little bit there. And again I can put that little line and a dot in. So you have a look at your sort of tile and see if you can fit any of these in anywhere. See, I'm going to put one in here. Let's have it going that way. It's sort of filling in these little areas. And again, little loops. Well, it's not so little, but again, a little aura on the inside. Bring them in. Same on this one. There you go. And little lines and dots. And a little one there. I'm not going to overdo that. You know, we could actually put another one in that corner or this corner. But do you know what? I might leave that, I think. I'm not going to do any more. We don't want a massive amount. So, okay, let's have a look. This, well, we've got a gap here. Going to come on in. Let's go here. And it's going to sort of bring a curve up and out. And I'm going to put a little droplet on the end. I don't mind if that line comes into it. Let's go a little bit bigger there. Ooh, there you go. So I'm going to do these little loops sort of down that curve. And if you can, if you've got space on the other side, and then join it. I'm going to put a line in the middle of each, see? Join each one. Back to that curve there. So let's put another one. Let's put another one here. So that's going to sort of go underneath, and then little droplets either side, and join them together. See what we're getting there? Let's go in a bit now. So I've got a couple of those. I'm going to put one here. I think it's a little bit, not much space there, but I think I could certainly perhaps get another one in here, just a little one. There you go. See another there? So I've got that kind of thing. So just to sort of help me out with this, I'm going to just aura around those little shapes I've done here. Not too far away. But you see, I'm going to sort of work my way in. Just a little way, and create a little board around it. And see, same on this one. You can always come in with this fine pen afterwards and neaten that off if we need to. But for now, I'm just going to draw that in. See there, I'm going to fill that everything because it's a little bit of space. There we go. All right, so I'm going to switch to my brush pen. Now, if you've not got a brush pen, you don't like to use it, that's fine. You can come in with a thicker black pen if you want to, or you can use a different coloured pen. It's whatever works for you. And any now of these gaps we've got left, I'm going to fill with ink. This is why I auraed around those little leafy shapes, because we didn't want to lose the original stem. Everything else is fine. There we are. See, I might come back and straighten that off in a short while. Okay, a bit there. It's amazing when you look on the camera, the little bits you've missed. But when I'm looking directly at the tile, you don't see it. See a little bit there, look, around that corner. Fill it in. Now here you've got to remember which is petal or flower and which is background. So just keep an eye. Sometimes, you know, if there's quite a lot, I actually go round with a pencil and put a little cross. And the pieces that I'm going to have to colour in. So for example, you see here, look, this is part of the flower, so I don't need that bit. Here, this is part of the flower as well. There, I think I'm going to fill in because it comes sort of up. There you go. So this one's part of this flower. And then here, look, where I've got that little aura, I'm going to fill that bit in. So just really focus for a minute and make sure you're getting all the pieces that you need to. Just worth doing a double check. Yeah, I'm now going to double check everything myself. Now I've said that. There we are. Just sort of fill those bits in. And of course, if you're going to do this in a different colour, you're going to get a slightly different effect. But sometimes it's nice to have that little bit of extra there. See there, I'm going to put a little bit so it looks like it's sort of working its way around. You see there where now you can sort of see it perhaps would benefit from going in a little bit further. You can sort of round them off, and again that's something you can decide looking at your own tile as to how far you want to go in with them. Do that bit there, maybe there, see? And then coming back round. So, I don't know, some of you like the thicker pens here, but I do find the brush really good for filling in lots of areas. They work really well. And of course, because you've got that fineness, you can get into all the little areas as well, where maybe using an 08 pen, sometimes you might find that that sort of means you've got to come back with that 03 to get into those little corner bits. See, like those there. Alright, let's have a quick look at this. Okay, so we've got that kind of thing. Again, you can still come in with that thinner pen. You can still add little bits of detail in if you need to, you know, just to neaten off the edges or fill in any extra gaps you might have. Shape around the little leaves and things. That's not bad. See there, I've got one. I've gone in a bit there. That's okay. I can fill that in. Okay. All right. So I'm going to sort of come back in and going to come in with pencil for a minute. Okay. I'm going to start with the biggest one. And what I'm going to do with each of these petal kind of shapes, I want to draw a line, not sort of from this point in, but across it. You might want to have a little gap like that. So again, another one. So work your way around your sort of shape, and you want to put these, it's a real narrow gap there, but you want it in anyway. Oh, sorry. Spinning out of the camera there. And then one there. Alright, so you've got that going all the way around. So I'm now going to come in with my pen. And let's start with this one, being this is facing it. And I'm going to create little lines from that line all the way down to the centre bit there. And same this way. Now you don't have to start in the middle for this. There we are. So all on one side. And then I'm going to do the same from the other side of the line all the way out to the top. And because they're real close together, you don't really need to try and match them. There's a gap in between anyway. And of course, going from here outwards means that you're going into that blackness. All right. So similar thing. I see I've turned my tile because I find it easier to create these lines coming towards me. And then the same going back. And you notice as well there's a little curve on them. Only slightly, just sort of following the shape of those curves that are already forming that shape. So all the way along one, and then across the top there as well. You see how it's sort of working? Let's just do a little zoom out there. Okay, so you've got that kind of thing. Because of course once we've done it, we'll rub out those pencil lines and you've got your instant highlight in there. So let's get going with this one. Now just sort of go with the flow of it and then work your way around. First one side and the other. Now this one, be careful because I don't want to go out the lines. All the way around. And see, now being a rebel, I've started on the outer edge first. Well, that's okay. And then the inner bit. Again, don't worry about trying to match them. They're quite small, so it won't matter. And even if they're slightly out there, they're going to be very slightly, so I'm not going to worry about that at all. Just putting that little bit of a curve on. Okay, so there's our first one. So I'm going to do the same with the others. Now it is always really useful actually to put that line in. I think because it's easy to rub out afterwards and you know you've got something to work to. So if you want to actually go in and do that with all of them first, see that, and you're going to get a bit there. Remember, it's attached to that flower. And these ones to this one. And again, just following the curve slightly. You want to give it that little bit of a shape. And it really makes it easy to draw those lines in when you've got these guidelines. There we are, just working my way around. Same on this one. That one I'm not going to worry about. And then here, look. So I'll keep it in with the curve. And of course the last one. Save the little one for last. And then you feel like it's not so bad when you've done a lot of them. Okay. So back in with my pen, and as before I'm going to work my way along the shapes either side of those lines. You see, try a nice confident stroke, do it in one and you'll get a more sort of sketchy feel, but you don't have to double up on any lines then. Sort of working alongside. See, it's looking quite nice. It's different, isn't it? There again. There we go. And just keep chaining your tile as you go. And there you go. And again, notice I am starting in the middle, but you don't have to. It's just something I do. I think it gives it a little bit more balance. This really doesn't matter so much, so I could actually start there if I wanted. You see, don't forget, you just want that curve on. There you go. See, so it doesn't matter in terms of getting a balance in a sense with these, because the lines are so close together anyway. See? No, that one's a little bit there. Let's try doing it this way. Going towards. See, that feels that's okay. You've got to make sure you're stopping at that line though. You don't really want to go over it. There we are. Oh, Charlotte, it is a busy tile. It's nice sometimes, I think, to do this. We can go really minimalistic, but it's just putting quite a lot of black on it. It just gives it a whole different feel. And again, you could do this in different colours if you wanted to. See, it doesn't all have to be in black if you feel like you want a different colour on it. Let's make that a bit thinner there, see? But that's why I draw it first, and then you can see what you think. Do you want to add more or do something different with it? That's absolutely fine. This is just sort of one way of doing it, isn't it? Make little ones on there, see? And now we're in the Rebel. Look, I'm working on one flower before I finish the other. Again, just being that it was there, seeing this one's there as well, so let's do that one. Ah, and I see here a little bit of space there with that aura. Let's get that filled in. Doesn't need to be coloured tile underneath there. You sort of spot things as you're going, so that's fine. If you're not sure, do it with pencil first and just fill it in with the graphite and see what you think. And if it is you can go over it with a black pen, no problem. But of course, trying to turn it white once you've actually gone over in black is a little bit trickier. So, there you go. It's a bit different, isn't it, this one? So, so you can have lines in there as well. Put them in there. Sort of straight out there. Sort of these few to do now. We'll have a look at it. So if you wanted to, you could actually leave it without these lines and colour it in. But sometimes it's just nice to try it, isn't it, and go a little bit different. You learn something new. Even if you try it and you think, do you know what, wasn't quite what I expected, you could do it in pencil. Well, you don't have to. But I quite like the busyness of it. The lines almost make it look like it's moving. So it's got a bit of life to it. Speaking of life, my boys are quiet today. Sat downstairs, sleeping it off. Yeah. All nice and calm down there. There we go. And almost there. See, I'm just taking that back into that black there. And the same with this one. That was my last one, I think. Again, just go from the line in and then out into that blackness there. There we go. I am going to just come back in now and just neaten that edge up. There we go, just put this straight, seeing any little gaps we can fill in. So the same with this one. I just think today it needs that straight edge there. So you just sort of fill in those little edges. This one, not so bad. I just want to touch it a little bit. I don't want to completely redo the whole border, but there we go. Just give it a bit of a straighten. See, there's off a bit. Oh, let's have a look at that. Okay, so there's sort of our drawing. You see how they sort of move a little bit, don't they? I'm just going to come in and rub out those lines from the pencil that we put in, those little marks. Just brings those highlights out a bit more, doesn't it? Okay, I just think I'm going to, there you go, just fill that a little bit in there on the edge. And there we go, there you are, just neatening that up a bit. Okay, so I'm going to bring in a mixture today. I've got a couple of pastels. So I'm going to start with my darkest blue here. And I'm going to go in with the middle bits. And I'm going to ignore the fact that it's lots of different petals. And I'm going to come in and add that familiar sort of little smirk along that side. And once you've decided which side, stick to it. So you could have this any side you like. I'm just going to stick to it there. Okay. And I've got a lighter blue. Going to add a little bit of that lighter blue in there with it. Just sort of on that inside bit there. And then they will blend together. Now, if you're using a regular pencil to shade, you would still put your pencil in those places. If you were going to use coloured pencils, then of course you have to blend those in. So you'd have to take a little bit more care. So I'm going to stick with that light blue. And I'm going to add some at the top and the bottom of these little shapes we've just added lines on. Okay, so just sort of take your time with this. And you don't want loads. We still want to keep that little highlight in the middle. But we want just a little hint of colour in there. See, just working my way around, top and bottom. That's why we've removed that pencil first, because once you put this on, you don't really want to be messing about pencils. Although just before I blend it, I'm just going to get rid of that bit. There you go. Little bits in there. Now you could do this in different colours as well if you want. You don't have to stick with the one colour like I have. Well, I've got 2 blues, but you can swap and change it about a bit. A bit there. Okay, let's have a look at that. So I'm going to bring the green in. I said I've got an extra green. So I'm going to add a little bit of green just into those little shapes there. So you see now I've got those little flowers in the corners as well. I think, well, what do I want to do with them? Do I want to have a colour in there? I don't want to go over the top too much. So what I can do is I've got a bit of, do I want a purple or do I want a, oh, decisions. Got a bit of orange here. Let's bring a bit of orange in. Just a little bit. Okay, I'm just going to put a bit in the middle there. See, nothing too much because they just sort of bits on the side, aren't they? There you go. So, tortillons. Usually you'd start with the lightest and work your way up, but because I've got quite a few tortillons to sort of play with, I can come in with a different tortillon for each. And then, of course, you can sort of file them off afterwards and it cleans them up. So, these ones I've got 2 colours on here, remember. I've got a dark and a light blue. So, I'm going to sort of work them together and ease them around. You see, it's quite dark here. And now I'm just easing the pressure off. Easing the pressure off. Till it fades. Okay. So I'm going to do all of these first. So let's get that darkness first, swirling around. And then working around, just easing off the pressure. Same with this one. You see I'm starting with the darker bit, getting around that edge. And then easing that pressure off. See? And same with this one. Easing the pressure. Just nice and gentle. Just be careful as well when using pastels or even with pencil. You don't want to have your hands, your fingers leaning on your tile because your graphite will come off. There you go. So then I'm going to stick with the same tortillon, of course, because the same sort of colour. I'm going to work in like little zigzags and just sort of push it in a little bit. So there's not much there, and because you've already got the lines, you're already creating shadow. So you just want to ease it out there. Same with this one. Okay, so it's giving me a little bit more of a highlight there. And that's what we want. We want to create a bit of shape. So you just sort of pushing it out a little bit, but not into the whiteness there. There you go. Quite nice working with a different colour. I think a lot of my tiles are recent have been sort of very reddish. It's getting there, isn't it? It's looking good. It's a bit busy really, but now we're focusing some colour in some areas. It's starting to take shape. It's looking great. But, I don't know, I think at the minute I'm instinctively going for the reds and the oranges. Don't know why. We do that sometimes, and you have to really make a conscious effort to change it and try something different. So if you're in the same thing, if you're always using blues, then maybe you go for reds today. Maybe even a green. Yes, it's not so far out the comfort zone, is it? Let's have a look at this. All right, so I'm not going to use this one for the orange. I know I've got a bit of green as well, haven't I? But honestly, that green probably doesn't even need blending. It's so small. But my orange does need just a little bit of easing off. See, I'm not going to make too much of it because it's the blues that are doing the main work here. There you go. So just sort of taking it easy, just easing that in. There you go. Now blow. Okay, now you see there, I can see quite clearly I've missed a little bit. So that was where I should have put in those little lines. So let's add a few of those in. That's better. See, already you can tell the difference. And a little bit of that blue again. Picking up the right tortillon. Just blend it in a little bit. Okay. So almost done. I think there's just a little bit more. There we go. See, you're getting that sort of movement. I've got a black pastel. So I'm going to see where we put this sort of original sort of part smirky smile shape. I'm going to come round that edge. Just add a little bit of blackness. Same on all of them. Now don't overdo it, just a single sort of line. Don't put loads in. And you notice I'm doing the same edge or sort of angle on each of them. Now I can actually use my graphite tortillon for this because I'm just going to ever so gently ease it in. I'm not trying to sort of blend all the colours out, I'm just easing that in to sort of work with that blue in there. There we go. See how they sort of like pop out now? Let's have a look at that. Just a touch more blue. Sue, yes, definitely. Friday is quite a poignant date in the calendar. So I will, not that I always tell you what we're going to do, but I am going to do a poppy on Friday. So you're going to need something a bit bigger than a regular tile. So I shall do it on a tag tile. But if you don't have one of those, it's fine. You can put two tiles together. You basically want something a little more rectangular than what we usually have. Speaking of tag tiles and something a little bit more rectangular, if you can manage a little bit more time with me this afternoon, I am on the Crafting Together with All Brands Facebook page at 3:30 this afternoon, doing another tile. So if you're up for it and you want to do that, you're definitely going to need a set of tag tile and a few colouring pencils, a little bit of ink if you want to do that. But we're basically going to do a tile. So yeah, look at this when you think how busy it was and all those extra bits of detail. But now look at how that detail's giving it a little bit of shadow and shape. So yeah, it's a little bit different than using the reds, but I quite like it. I like that little pop of orange in the back there, just bringing it to light. And if you wanted to, you could bring in a white gel pen or a bit of a gold or something. You could add some little dots or some little bubbles in this black area, but I think I'm going to leave it at that. I quite like it. So there we go. So that's tile 291. I say, if I don't see you over on the other Facebook page at 3:30, then I'll see you back here on Friday for our tile 292, which is, of course, November the 11th. So I'll see you there, or I'll see you later on. All right, everybody, have a lovely day, and see you soon. Take care. Bye.